everyone and welcome back to John Florio channel. I am Mary and I'm here to talk about John Florio. In my last video I started talking about Love's Labus Lost. I have done two videos in which I have explained first all the mudslinging through Florio throughout the centuries and the distorted information shared by Shakespeare scholars. In the second video, I will show you the textual connection between Shakespeare and Florio. Now, Shakespeare scholars have interpreted this similarity by describing Florio as an intermediator, someone who gave Shakespeare access to that Italian language, Italian sources that we find in Shakespeare's plays and still don't have a proper answer. So, Florio is described as a sort of a friend, a mentor, a tutor of Shakespeare, someone who helped Shakespeare with those sources. The problem is that they always have described Florio distant from the theatre world, someone who for no reason helped Shakespeare with the sources that he used in the plays, the Italian language, the plots borrowed from Italian authors, but he wasn't involved in the act of writing the play. He didn't collaborate. He didn't have any connection with the theatre world. He was somewhere in between Shakespeare and the final result, the final play. But they are wrong. Today I will show you all the connections between John Florio and theatre world in early modern London. Something that none ever show you and none ever talk about. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Why? Because it's free. I mean, where do you find another channel that talk about Shakespeare, Giordano Bruno, John Florio, and tell you all those things for free? You don't pay. You don't have to buy expensive books to know these things. It's free. The only thing you have to do is to subscribe. And now, let's start. Florio the lexicographer, Florio the translator, but was Florio into theatre? Today I tell you another story, a secret story about this mysterious man. Since his young age, Florio was involved in theatre. Florio's acquaintance with theatre can be traced as early as 1578. Why this date? Because in that year Florio published First Fruits, his first work. And what we find in this work? We find many dedications written by translators? No, by the whole company or the LEICESTER'S men. Actors like Richard Tarleton, John Bentley, Robert Wilson, they all wrote long, beautiful dedication to John Florio. Francis Yates, one of Florio's most important scholars, didn't mention this important information in her biography. Who did this was Arundel del Re, another Florio scholar, and he suggested the importance of further investigations between John Florio and the London stage that, however, has never been explored yet. The fact that actors like Richard Tarleton, John Bentley, Robert Wilson wrote dedications to John Florio and the kind of dedication that they wrote proved that first, Florio was their teacher, second, that he collaborated with them. What it means when Richard Tarleton writes to Florio, "Thank you for bringing these pleasant Italian fruits that will flourish in our English fields." That Florio was borrowing from Italian authors, like he did in First Fruits, from Ariosto, from Boccaccio, and translated, readapting those works in English. That's what he did. for the theatre company. Why? Robert Dudley, Florio's patron at the time, needed an Italian tutor for his own company of players. The LEICESTER'S meant the first theatrical company to be formally registered in London, and they were required to entertain foreign ambassadors at court. But English back then, as Florio brought it first, wasn't very popular. Yeah, it is strange to say this today, but it was the truth. Italian, however, was widely understood and popular, and its comedy theatre traditions, like commedia dell'arte, were popular all over Europe. This early experience the Florio had with Dudley Theatre Company went on, and they kept collaborating, and it will eventually lead to his first meeting with William Shakespeare 10 years later. Among the few mutual friends, it seems to me most likely that the famous stage clown Richard Tarleton and his fellow comedy actor and writer Robert Wilson forged the introduction, possibly sometimes during 1589-1590. Why I say this? Because in Second Fruits, Florio appears to mention Shakespeare in the context of a newly discovered talent in theatre. When he attacked Robert Greene and Thomas Nash because they insulted Florio in their works, Florio replied in Second Fruits by describing them as university wits who labor in vain and writing that Aesop's cock found a pearl in the lower place, which means you think you are better just because you are a university wit, but you are wrong because I found a great talent in a lower place. In theatre. Wilson Tarleton, I think, made this introduction to a purpose. It seems likely they actively hoped the two would collaborate to bring the essence of the Italian comic stage to English audiences. It is no coincidence that Shakespeare's early career in those years is so pregnant of references to Italian authors and Italian plots. But before Shakespeare arrived in London, this is what Florio was doing in 1578. 10 years before Shakespeare arrived in London, Shakespeare was still a young boy when Florio was already writing and collaborating with London theatre companies. Second reason why Florio has a connection with theatre. The sources of his works, for example, First Fruits and Second Fruits, the language lessons manuals include theatrical works like commedia dell'arte. This is conferred by the dialogues between the masters and servants that he wrote, which have names inspired by Italian authors and plots borrowed from 16th century Italian theatre. Florio was a voracious reader, as his library testifies, and he used it extensively in his works by borrowing, translating, and rewriting, readapting those works in English. Moreover, his writing style is permeated by a theatrical sense. An example are the dramatic dialogues that he wrote in his works. Some of them, I have shown you in the past video, are used in Shakespeare's plays as well. The translation of Montaigne's essays confirms Florio's great confidence with dramatic style. Moreover, Florio owned a library of 400 books, and guess what? The greatest number of works are plays, comedies, pastoral comedies, tragic comedies, tragedies. He loved theatre. Why he had all these plays? Because he loved them and he used them. Florio also befriended many dramatists. Just one example, Ben Jonson. A quarto copy of Volpone is extant with a dedication from the playwright who defines Florio his loving father, worthy friend, and the aid of his muses. From this description has been assumed that Florio may have collaborated with Jonson on Volpone and other plays with the usual random description as intermediator, tutor, collaborator, co-writer. That's the word. Florio also worked as ghostwriter. He published many anonymous works as well as anonymous translation and collaborated as anonymous editor, for example, for Philip Sidney Arcadia in collaboration with Fulk Greville and Matthew Gwynne, and with Italian fencing master Vincenzo Saviolo for his manual. Last but not least, In A World of Words, published in 1598, Florio writes it. He writes that he was collaborating with other writers. I have a great faction of good writers to bandy with me, he writes to his enemies, to say, you can attack me, but there are many friends of mine, other writers, who support me and collaborate with me. Which suggests a thick web of challenging relationships between playwrights, editors and translators enthusiastically collaborating with each other. In the next video I will analyze Love's Labus Laws and I will prove that Florio collaborated with Shakespeare for these plays. Yes, they wrote this play together. So no, Florio wasn't a mere supplier of basic information about Italian folklore. He was a collaborator. He wrote with other dramatists, among them Shakespeare. I will present a new, much intriguing picture of Shakespeare's writing practice, which involved both translation and collaboration with John Florio. Stay resolute. Bye!